Hey, what's up, yo?
Billy, what's up, dude?
Good, man. How are you, Alex? You good?
Where you been?
Oh man, been a little bit everywhere. No, I had knee surgery last year, so obviously that takes a lot of time away, and then just focusing on rehab, doing everything right, and then I decided to move up a weight class just because I'm getting older, I'm bigger, stronger, and it's been great so far keeping the size on. But yeah, obviously a long layoff, so just happy to be here, excited to get back in there and go out there and get a big finish, get a big win.
You've been so active throughout your entire UFC career, so was this like tough not fighting for like 2 years?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a very strange, taking this much time off. This is like my, obviously my main job, my career. Luckily, in the meantime, I own Gracie Pack Martial Arts out in Tampa, and we've had a lot of guys fighting, a lot of guys cornering. So pretty much, every few weeks I'm out there cornering guys, getting, helping guys get big wins, tough fights, preparing them for fights. So it's exciting to finally have my own training camp and my own fight week underway.
Talk about moving up to lightweight. What was like the moment you're like, yeah, let's do it.
It's been one of those things that's been building up for the last couple of fights. I was talking to Cormier about it. Before the Yusuf Zalal fight, I actually made weight and I was like puking like the night before, like pretty much all night. And as a fighter, I was like, oh man, at least like I lost some weight doing this, but looking back on it, it was awful. And then the Cub Swanson fight, the last fight that I had, I made the weight, and it was a long process of making the weight. And then I just never got back to. I never felt normal again. Like even heading over to the venue, I still felt like I was drained. I still felt like I was sucked out. So that was like, the decision had to be made. I'm like, I can't just keep doing this to my body. Fighting is brutal enough, and to keep torturing myself making the weight, I'd rather go in there and have a slight size disadvantage than just to kill myself before the fight.
So how has this training camp been? Not having to worry about cutting weight.
It's been great, and I'm still cutting weight. Don't let that fool you. It's still going to be a bit of a weight cut, but it's just been good. Like I got a little bit extra meat on my bones, and it was good. It was good. I was going with bigger guys. I felt comfortable going with bigger guys. I did a little bit more strength and conditioning than I usually do. I feel like I'm hitting harder. I feel like I'm stronger, and I feel like you're going to see a real version of me instead of like a drained version.
What was the biggest cut you made to featherweight?
Oh, the biggest cut, going from like the mid 70, probably like 175, a few weeks out to cutting down to 145. So that was, and I wasn't even like overindulging. It's just how big my body is. I have a 5'10" frame. So I'm excited for this one at lightweight.
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude. What about the matchup with Diego?
Yeah, it's a fun matchup. When they messaged me and asked me about it, it was an exciting fight. I was worried that they were going to give me someone that I didn't know who they were. I'm familiar with Diego's game, especially now. The last few weeks we've been watching him. We both fought Alex Hernandez. We both fought Kyle Nelson. He's been around a long time. I've been around a long time. We're the co-main event. I think the fans know. I think the UFC knows it's going to be just an absolute barn burner. It's going to be a great fight, and I'm looking to go out there and deliver.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's a really wild fight. How do you kind of see this fight playing out? Do you think it's going to be mainly on the feet, or do you think it's going to be like a mixed martial arts fight where it's going to go everywhere?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever he wants, No, I think it's going to be a lot on the feet. I want to go out there and put on a performance. I know people love striking. We're both black belts in jiu-jitsu, so if it does go to the ground, I feel very confident there. Obviously, we've been working a lot of wrestling, a lot of jiu-jitsu, but it seems like he likes to try to knock people out. I like to knock people out, so I think it's going to be a little bit everywhere, but definitely on the feet, I feel very confident.
So, and finally for me, going up to lightweight, so that means you're probably going to be able to fight a little bit more often because no gnarly weight cuts. How do you want the rest of your UFC career to kind of go?
Yeah, like you said before, it's been the longest layoff of my career, and that was because of the knee injury primarily. But the weight cut, a big reason I couldn't take short notice fights because I was just too big for the weight class. So I would love to fight at least one more this year. I would love to get back there in November at Madison Square Garden, but I'm not overlooking Diego. I got to go out there and get a win and establish myself as a contender in the lightweight division.
Good luck, man.
Thanks, bro.
Billy over here. Obviously now you've had this time since that Cub fight, and obviously moving up a weight class. What do you take from that fight, right? With all this time to reflect and improve on to this new tenure you're going.
Yeah, an unfortunate finish to it. I just look at it like I was having a lot of success. The game plan was going perfectly, and then I just got, I just lost a little bit of focus. I felt like that, going into the third round, I felt like he couldn't hurt me, and I felt like I was kind of cruising to a win. And then next thing you know, the ref's waking me up, and I was like, no, I couldn't believe it. So what I can take from it is I try not to put too much, try not to be too down on myself because anyone can get caught, especially by a guy like Cub Swanson who's knocked out a bunch of people. But I do remember I had a lot of success in that fight, and watching him in his last fight against Nate Landwehr, he looked a lot better than he did against me. So I took some confidence in that, and he's still a dog. But the game plan was working until it wasn't. So.
And is there something you think fans are going to see this weekend that maybe they haven't seen of, maybe 45 or Billy Q?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a lot more energy. I think I'm going to be able to push the pace a little bit more. I'm a little bit stronger. And, I think the biggest thing is just I don't think I can get drained as easily because, losing so much weight and then gaining so much weight, it does a lot to your body. And I'm just going to feel a lot closer to my natural weight at 55.
Yeah, and then when I see your record, Cub Swanson, Damon Jackson, Zalal Barboza, all of these fun fights, and then like you just talked about another fun booking here with Diego. What do you think, just this booking after this layoff and moving up to a new division says about maybe what the UFC thinks about you, right? Putting you in the co-main against another fun fighter like Diego.
Yeah, I think even though I wasn't successful in a few of those fights, I put on exciting fights. They know I'm looking for the finish. Sometimes when you look for that finish, you're going to get caught yourself. But at the end of the day, I want to be an exciting fighter. I'd rather be known as an exciting fighter than a boring fighter that sneaks by with some wins here and there. So they know what I'm going to bring Saturday night. I'm going to bring the excitement.
Yeah, and I know all the focus on Diego, but now you enter a perhaps even more stacked division in lightweight. So is there any names that you want to share before your time is done in the sport?
There's some that I'm thinking of, but I don't want to look past Diego at all. So just for the respect of not thinking about anyone else, I'll save it till after.
Fair play. And obviously you just welcomed another child to the sport. How's that been like? And how does that affect preparation for this fight?
Yeah, it's been amazing. We have 3 boys. Me and my wife Bree have 3 boys, and it's a madhouse in my house now. But it's I wouldn't trade it for anything. I can't wait to get back home to them. But they know I'm on a business trip, and I got things to handle first.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you, brother.
You've always been willing to take these tough fights. What about this fight? It feels like such a fresh chapter in your UFC career.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, moving up in a weight class, and I think moving up in a weight class and taking this amount of time off gave me a lot of time to really refresh, a time to get back to it, time to kind of miss the sport a little bit, kind of miss getting in that cage. So I'm going into this fight with a lot of excitement because I haven't been there. When you're consistently training and fighting, you kind of get burnt out a little bit. But this is kind of a fresh start for me where I had that long layoff and the chance to actually miss it.
Is this kind of matchup you wanted for your lightweight debut? It's a proven veteran, and he can really test where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is the type of fight I wanted. The UFC is massive right now. There's so many guys that they could have matched me up with, guys that I might not have heard of yet or might not have had the experience. But to put me with a guy like Diego, who's fought the who's who of the lightweight division, it's gonna a win over him shows exactly where I'm at in this division.
Speaking about Diego Ferreira, he's known for his jiu-jitsu, right? But he's also has some dangerous striking showings. Where do you think you have the biggest advantage in this matchup?
I think overall, like my usual style of pressuring people and making them make mistakes by outworking them is where I have the biggest advantage. And of course, people know I'm going to be in his face the whole time. I'm going to be striking with him. My willingness to go wherever the fight goes, or to dictate that, I think that's the biggest factor in this fight.
Would you say your goal is to simply get the win, or do you want a statement victory to say I'm here for the lightweight division?
Definitely the later. Definitely going out there to get a statement win. Go out there to get a finish. It's been a long time since I've been, put someone out, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for it.
You've had a pretty long layoff, right? You haven't fought in a couple of years. What was the biggest thing throughout those 2 years that you probably have grown on yourself?
I wouldn't say one thing in particular, but just preparing myself. Sometimes we only have a few weeks to prepare yourself. I had a long time to really prepare for. For a while I didn't know what the matchup was going to be, but I knew I was going to come back. I knew I was going to fight. I knew I wanted to get redemption from the Cub fight. I knew I wanted to come back at 37 and go out there and get a huge win, and of course come back from a huge knee injury. So it was a long time to prepare for this fight, and I think I'm ready now.
Is there a message you'd like to tell the fans?
I hope you enjoy yourself Saturday night. It's going to be a great night. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, brother.
It's been a minute. I know we can talk about the fight and preparation, all that good stuff, and it's good to see, just circle back here. 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter. But is there anything you could share with us, not exactly fight-related, to where you found, like, hey, man, these people care about me. I got some good support. Those things like when you're in the hospital or hurt or injured is when you know who really has your back.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that came out, or a group of people or a teammate or family that kind of checked in on you? You're like, okay, like I do have that support system and things are right personally.
Yeah, not one person in particular, but I've been very fortunate. My family's always super knit, super tight, and overall, like my family's like, I have like my real family, the Quarantillo family, and then I got all my teammates and my students at Gracie Pack, which is at my gym, and they're all super supportive. They're all super excited about this fight. They're guys that like I would do anything for. I would corner them. I would drive. I drive all over Florida for them, and they've all been great support for me. So just overall, like I have a lot of really good people around me. So I'm very fortunate with that.
That's awesome, man. Great to hear. And you touched on something real interesting, that how you said you're constantly training, and that 2 years away you actually got to miss it. Can I add two-part question? What did you miss about it? And also, how crazy have the changes been from just the Paramount Plus platform to the exposure and the award shows and, social media and movies and all that stuff that you've been able to assess as you've been away from the cage, but not exactly completely away?
Yeah. So obviously, I've fought at the Apex a few times already, and just looking at it now with like the grandstands and the lighting and everything, and of course I've been watching some of the Zuffa boxing. I've seen some of the slap boxing on social media. So it's definitely, you can definitely tell there's a lot of wheels in motion with the brand, with the company. I think the thing I miss the most is it just being like my night. It's when I'm coaching the guys, like I can only do so much, and then I got to watch them go out there. So just missing being the one to actually go in there and taking the risk and taking the, you might go out there and get knocked out. You might go out there and get a knockout. You might go and get a huge bonus. You might go and, get a crazy highlight reel that's going to be everywhere. So just, I think missing the intensity of the risk and the outcome that you can't predict. You can't guarantee anything. So I think just missing that is the biggest part of what I missed.
That's awesome, man. And you've always been a student of the game. This is also like a full circle moment with Contender Series is about to start. You're coming back, so it's all lining up. What have you been able to see as cornering people, coaching people, like just your division overall? I mean, you're on the card where the main event is at lightweight, and now this is your new home, for crying out loud.
Yeah, so I mean, cornering people, cornering my guys, I'm cornering guys at like the lowest level, like the beginner level of amateur to regional MMA to soon the Contender Series and the UFC guys. So it's always just like making sure I'm doing everything right, and then every week, every time we're cornering guys, we're seeing things that guys are doing right, things are doing wrong, new stuff that guys are doing. So I got my my ear to the street, watching all the new guys, new up and comers.
That's awesome, man. So you stayed tapped in. You didn't really go anywhere. You were just kind of in the shadows.
Exactly. I mean, every single day I go to my gym where I'm on the mats every single day. I'm training with the young guys. I'm training with the beginners. I'm training with the guys that are almost on my level. They're getting in the UFC now, and there's some young guys that I know are I'm planning on having them take it further than me. So it's fun, but I've told people this for a while. I might be known as a better coach than a fighter eventually, but I still got a lot of unfinished business left in the UFC.
Man, I can't wait to see it. So if anybody's just seeing your name, they're gonna be like, "Oh, these guys coming in with ring rust. They got another thing coming. It's gonna be lit this weekend."
Yeah, I don't think ring rust is. I've had a million fights already. I fought in the UFC a bunch of times already. It is what it is. But I'm excited to go out there and get a win.
That's awesome. And last for me, on paper, this is just a striker's delight. We know that Diego likes to stand. You like to stand. You have great striking. So does he. When the name came across the board or on a text or your manager reached out, however, did that help you level up any, or is this something that you said, okay, perfect, co-main, Paramount Plus, this is the guy I needed exactly to just kind of dial in?
Yeah. So he's one of those names that I knew right away. It always brings my level when I'm fighting a guy who I know is as dangerous as Diego. It brings my game up to that next level. So it was an exciting moment, and right away I text and I called all my coaches and the guys that I needed to be working with for this fight, and it definitely raises the level in the room when there's a huge opportunity like this.
That's awesome, man. Well, once again, welcome back. Can't wait to see you on Saturday, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. No, you're done. Oh, good. All set. Thank you, guys.